Almost. This doesn't work out.
I'm Greydy, and I'm traveling across the country and perhaps the world to work alongside and learn from the current and former athletes who are keeping their minds curious and bodies busy, building businesses, new careers, and legacies, one footprint at a time. Today, I'm learning the ins and outs of being an oyster farmer alongside WNBA founding player, first openly gay player in the league, and entrepreneur Sue Wicks, right here at the charming Mastic Beach on Long Island, New York. Working on the water is in her bloodline. Sue can count 15 generations of her family that have made a living on the water, and that legacy continues through her. Her father was a bayman, and she grew up right here exploring what would become a big part of her heart, joy, and identity.
The thrill of being on the water, huh?
Yeah.
You mentioned, business and how, of course, you want to make money, but what were some of the startup costs that went into creating your oyster farm?
The equipment, for sure, and we built every piece of equipment ourselves. So learning how to do that, buying all the equipment, you'll see the cages that are out there, buying a boat, building a dock, buying a truck. I had to get rid of my car and get a truck. Even moving out to Long Island full time. I sold my apartment in New York City and used that to buy this house and start this business. So it was a whole change of life and lifestyle, and I love when women say bet on women and bet on yourself.
Yeah,
and I definitely
in yourself.
I
made a big
invested
investment in yourself.
Yeah, and just believing that I could do it. So yeah, there are probably maybe $250,000 just in the farm. So when I first started playing in Europe, I was very aware that, or fearful maybe, that I'm not going to make money like this again. So even though I had all that money in my pocket, which wasn't that much, I put it in the bank and I invested it for later in life. And luckily, here's my scenario is so much different when I watch the girls at the draft with their Prada, their Fendi, their Gucci. Nobody had any money when I played. Nobody was buying that. There was no one to keep up with. And if you had a new pair of Reebok pumps, you were styling, you were on the top of the chart. So the idea of me saving money was so easy because there was no one to keep up with. So these gals, when I see them buying Mercedes trucks and that stuff, I'm like, I hope my girls are saving some money because you should have a lifestyle and it is great. But at the end, it's nice to have a little bit of money that you saved, and the idea, and I love the optimism as well, like, no, there's more money coming. Like that idea, like the universe is gonna keep giving, I love that idea as well. But just to hedge your bet, it's so great to put a little bit of money, buy an annuity, like here's my retirement, I'll just put this away, and then next year I'll spend my money. So I think about that, but the money is a funny one, and I thought about that from the very beginning. I was like, I'm going to play in Europe. It wasn't always a lot of fun. I was homesick, and I was lonely, a lot of things. I was like, all right, do this 10 years, save X amount of dollars, and then you can do whatever you want. So it was always in my head, like marking a calendar. And then the WNBA started, and I felt like a rookie again. I was like, girl, I'm gonna keep playing. And our contracts were, I think my first contract was $35,000. And I was, a high draft pick for the Liberty that year. So there wasn't, I think I had players on my team, honestly, maybe $15,000 for the season. So as soon as we had our first contract negotiation with the league, it was like, how about healthcare? It wasn't like, give us $5,000 more dollars, because the older players knew that was irrelevant. That's not going to help you. That's going to get you, a couple more outfits or something like that. But healthcare for an entire league is huge. Let's start a 401k for this league and do a little financial education. That'll be huge. And that's all we did in our first negotiations, get the groundwork for that. And then the last one that they did with 144 players, rock solid, the negotiations, I was so proud of them to get that much more money. And that is the generation that said, I'm worth it. My generation was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here, thank you. I even said that when we were in I was the players rep. I was like, I'm the wrong person. I'm too old. I'm just happy to be here. You need a young player that's never had to go to Europe, that believes that they should be making the same as the guys, that should have these shoe contracts, that's the person that should be negotiating, not me like, oh, thank you so much. And I knew that right away. And now we don't exactly have that, but we have another group of people like, I know I'm worth this. Yes. You can't tell me that if you invest and put this on television, it won't be huge. Like, they believe in themselves so much.
A big part of your own story is being authentic, of being the first openly gay player in the WNBA. Can you take me back to that moment and what that was like for you? That was over 2 decades ago.
You know what? It's so funny that it feels quaint now. It doesn't feel like in that moment, it was a big deal. We needed to be out there and show our faces, and part of that is sometimes it hurts. It certainly hurt my mother. There's certainly people that were so proud of me my whole life that never talked to me again, educators, coaches, people in the community, because that for them was the worst thing that you could do and the worst thing that you could be. When it happened, I mean, Martina Navratilova, Billie Jean King, all came up to me and were like, thank you. That is so huge, and the way that you did it, I mean, it's so important. The announcements and the celebration of love, instead of like me coming out of a closet with my deviant behavior, confessing it, the whole dynamic has changed completely. That I'm like, oh, I would have never even thought of that. Like, hey, I have something to celebrate, guys. I'm this, and that's how it is now. So the whole world, not the whole world, because we have backlash for sure, but the attitude of the players, the attitude of young people, saying that's no big deal, that's the dream come true.
Would you say that your job allows you to be creative?
Yes, yes.
How so?
So even coming up with a name, coming up with a logo, figuring out how to work with Mother Nature, with the lines that I have to know which way the prevailing winds are. I have to know how big the bay is. I have to know how strong the currents are. And then I have to do a little bit of numbers, crunching, how strong my lines have to be, how much weight I can put on those lines, how many oysters can be in each bag. Now that's not creative, but that's analytical. That's one part. The creative part is probably Instagram, selling the story of oyster farming. I've told you, I think a little more subtly on social media, I'm selling how beautiful this is. I'm selling this as Long Island heritage. I'm selling this as a resource that we have that needs a little tender loving care because we've done so much pollution. My social media is certainly about, look at how gorgeous this water is, and don't you love it? And then people, probably like with you, they want to come sit courtside with you. They're like, Sue, I want to come on the boat.
Right.
I want to do this.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be courtside with you on this boat.
We're courtside. We have courtside, double A seats right here.
After a 20-minute boat ride from Sue's dock, we reach her oyster farm. Sue keeps a close eye on her oyster cages. Today, she walks through her farm and makes sure to flip the oyster cages for greater exposure to air, sunlight, and to counteract biofouling, which is when barnacles, sea grapes, algae, and other microorganisms accumulate on surfaces. Flipping the cages is essential to promoting an oyster's shell strength and overall growth. As the oysters grow, so do the cages in weight, making for an even greater workout for Sue.
Let's do this again. What's your excuse this time?
It's what it is. There's not a lot of dignity in it.
To maximize our time today, and because the water was freezing for me, Sue had her oysters picked and delivered to us from a fellow farmer and longtime bayman so that we could prep the bags for our delivery later. One of Sue's proudest moments was when New York City's Le Bernardin, one of the top restaurants in the world, carried her Violet Cove oysters on their menu.
That's the equivalent of playing Carnegie Hall. That's the equivalent of playing in Madison Square Garden. So that's something I'm so proud of, that restaurant gave my little humble oyster a spot on their really exclusive menu.
Sue, when I see you at Liberty Games, you look like you're right at home, right with your community. Have you found that sense of community here on the water, oyster farming, with folks that share that same passion as you have for the water?
Yes, that's such a great question. I mean, that's been a gift. The first community I found, because my first year out here, no one would talk to me. None of the fishermen guys would talk to me. They wanted to see if I would make it. So the first community I had was chefs and restaurants, and that felt so good. And now, on the water, I get DMs from the other farmers, not just in New York, but all the way up to Nova Scotia. Just, talking about best practices, doing things. I go and meet people in Maine. I've gone all the way to Alaska to see how to grow sugar kelp. And I've had other farmers on boat. I've had other farmers come and help me, teach me things. And we're competitors. That's the thing. We're competitors. We're going for market share. That they come and they're like, hey, Sue, let me show you how to do this knot. Hey, why don't you try and anchor this way? Or, hey, use this mechanic for your boat, and different things like that. So many people in the community look out for each other. That's, for me, I didn't anticipate that, and it's been beautiful.
Now, when folks think of oyster farmers, I'm not sure that they always think of women first.
Yeah.
Have you found that there are many women or more women than when you started oyster farming today?
So we're going to steer for that. And as far as women oyster farmers, I think they make up maybe 10% of the farming. Traditionally, there hasn't been room on fishing boats in the fisheries to invite women in because it's such a men's club, but that is changing as well. Now, when you start your own business, guess what? You can do whatever you want. I'm the boss, and there's some oyster farmers that are, I'm only going to hire women. I only want women. And then there's other farmers like, I'm going to hire me. I'm the boss. And then I'll hire anybody that wants to work on the water that's passionate. So that's the one way to do it. Don't ask for a seat at the table, build your own table. And that's basically what this is. For me to be able to do this, I have to build it myself. And then to do the things I want to do, I have to be the boss. And because some of them don't look like viable economic opportunities, but they could be. Just like the WNBA was like, oh, this will never make money. Hold on, you know what I mean? And the same thing with these things, like, it's not going to be an overnight success. It's going to take 10 years for sugar kelp to be an overnight success. It's going to take the WNBA, because people think it just happened, like, oh, Caitlin Clark changed basketball. Yes, thank you, Caitlin Clark, but it's taken 25 years for this overnight sensation to be on everyone's, brain. So sometimes it takes all that foundational work, all that commitment, all that stuff that's forgotten and gone to make a platform for this thing to be visible. So that's also exciting. Could have been born in a different time.
For so long as we've been trying to grow and amplify the WNBA, it does feel like there's been these gates around it, because we want to protect it, we want to care for the players, but we do realize there's more work to be done. Where do you hope to see the WNBA in the next 5, 10, and even 20 years?
So I like to be to a point where I'm so green with envy and bitter and angry watching the games, how much money they're making, and all the fans and on television. That's where I want to get. I want to get to a spot where I'm really like, I can't believe the money they're making. That's where I want to get. I haven't gotten there yet.
Also, with the future of, women's basketball, we have a collective bargaining agreement coming up, and I feel like the retired players often get left out. Retired players don't have health insurance, right? Would you like to see that change?
We had a phone call with Cheryl, was on the phone, your pal, Cheryl Swoops, and this was during COVID. And she was saying, we kind of built this league and this is a really rough time. I wonder if anyone's going to step up and help us. And I was like, I hate to say it, Cheryl. I'm like, here's the pragmatic part. No, they're not going to help us. They have their players and they may help you, Cheryl. They may help Tina. They may help Lisa Leslie, but they're not helping the whole league. That is not going to happen. Flash forward to right now, what just happened in the NCAAs, what's going to happen with this TV contract, that they're going to be able to negotiate a much bigger contract. And if they don't, they're going to do their job. They're great. As great as the NBA players and WNBA players are, that front office at the NBA is on their game. So I think they're going to get a lot more money. And if we're ever going to have a moment, we don't have that many retired players. The league is not that big. If you wanted to start a pension plan for players, I think it's still early enough that you can include the former players. And I'm saying that 4 years ago, if you asked me this, no way. And that it doesn't matter in my brain or in my heart. We did this and we knew we were building a foundation. And when I say, I even see articles when I retired, I said the same thing. We built a foundation and I want to see it here one day. I never thought about a pension, never thought anything that I wanted from it except for it to last. And that'll always be number one. What I love thinking about that, like the idea of your future has also transformed and changed. The players can see themselves now. Sue Bird is like, oh, I'm going to make some movies. How about a movie about me? I'm going to do commentating. You know what? I don't want to do traditional commentating. I'm going to make my own show. Oh, I'm going to be a part owner of a team. I'm going to do this and that. So those ideas were not there. You're good at this.
I'm a Renaissance woman.
Yeah.
I can do a lot of things, just like you, Sue.
I mean, you're quick.
And what's your process right now, before deliveries? Are you putting them in a cooling place?
Yeah. But these will probably go right into my truck and we'll put a little ice on them.
Sue, you wear many hats, and one is being the person to make deliveries. What have you learned about yourself throughout this process of running your own business, growing your own oysters, and even having to sell them now?
Well, I think running a small business is the same as having like a low Division I basketball team. If you're a coach, you end up doing everything. If you have a top tier team like Gino or Don, so many people are doing it. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're at the bottom, like in your business, you're doing everything, including ordering the lunch. That's what I learned. Like, it's very hands-on. Every detail you're in charge of. And I think that's the best way to learn how to do something. So to grow along with that. So anything that I do hand off a job to someone else, I know how to do it.
How many times a week do you make deliveries to wholesalers, to restaurants?
In the summer, every day we're making deliveries. And a lot of the wholesalers, once we get really busy, they come to the house and pick up. My original restaurants that I started with when I first started, I still deliver to them directly, just because I like to check in with them. And there's just that feeling of, they gave me my first break. They put me up on their boards, they tried my oysters, and this is competitive. It's just like basketball, like getting a spot on someone's board with your oysters is just as hard as getting a roster spot somewhere. Selling your oysters is very competitive because there's other farmers that are trying to do it.
Hi, Chef. How are you? We have a delivery.
I've heard.
Yes. Well, we're definitely going to sit down and enjoy some. Aside from your own oysters, what do you like to order when you're here?
Actually, I just usually do my own oysters, and then I might do a little market research.
Okay.
Just to see what the competition's up to. So let's say the Violet Coves for sure, just as our base for testing. And let's see what they're doing over at Mermaid Cove.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
So 4 there? All right. And should we do a glass of wine?
Yeah, why not? What's a good pairing? What do you like to pair your oysters with?
Probably a Sauvignon Blanc, really simple, something dry, little mineral to pick up all the flavors in the oyster. I think is great. Champagne, #1 for me, and that's just a personal preference. But this time of the year, the oyster, the flavors will pop with a Sauvignon Blanc.
So you want to take these? We're going to do 4 Violet Cove, 4 Mermaid, and a Leche de Tigre.
Yes.
Awesome. Great. We got that right for you.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank
Chef.
you, Chef.
The way we like to shuck oysters usually would, so as you can see, oyster is kind of like a almost triangular shape where we have a little beak back here. And then going into this back point is where you really want to end up. So we use the towel to help elevate the oyster, and then we just kind of get in there and opens right up, separate it from the upper muscle, which is here, and then it's going to have another muscle down here, and then you just want to separate that. And usually, for the most part, you give it a quick flip, and then you get that beautiful oyster.
That's gorgeous. What's it like to support a local business such as Sue, who's a WNBA legend?
Sue's been with us for a long time. We would like to help her, you know, in this industry because we know oyster farming is not an easy task. It's something where it's a lot of effort, a lot of work. You want to be able to, you know, try to make everyone happy, you know, when it comes to just providing a succulent shellfish. Working with Sue has been a very, you know, it's been a pleasure because she's such an awesome person. You know, aside from her track record of being an awesome ball player as well, she's also very intuitive when it comes to working with the oysters. Just her background of just knowing how this works, just being able to tumble them, to grow them, you know, little down for us. Get it in there and then just turn.
Whew. You know, you made it look so easy.
Trust me.
And I'm over here struggling.
And there it is.
Yay.
You officially shucked your oyster.
Hey, thank you
Little
for your
teamwork,
help.
but-
Little teamwork, that's okay.
But you took it most of the way.
Thank you.
All right. Here we are with our oysters.
Ooh.
So we have our 4 Mermaid Cove, our 4 Violet Cove, and then our Leche de Tigre.
Which is this one?
This guy right here. So
wow.
Leche de Tigre is stressed up, so it has a little bit of chili, a little bit of scallion, and then we're finishing it with some crispy onions and chives.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so
Let me grab
much.
you guys that Chenin Blanc.
Thank you.
Let's do the Violet Coves. Now, I always put lemon, and the lemon is to cut down the salinity in the front. Are you okay with lemon?
I love lemon.
Okay, I'll put it on.
And how did you know that these were yours? That these were Violet Cove?
Because I've touched these so many times. I know the edge of this oyster very well, and I can tell that this is mine. And these are a little more petite. There's a little brown in here, where when we flip them over, we'll see the bottom of the shell. And that is like anything, when you watch something really closely, you see all the little details. So I know that's mine, and I know that's a different oyster. All right, so straight up the first one, just lemon, and you're tasting it.
All right. Cheers.
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 Yeah? Now, part of the Violet Cove is coming from that, see that purple in this one?
Yes.
So the purple shows you that you have very healthy water. That's a mineral pickup, and that is a healthy oyster. Okay, so then we have these mermaids from Nova Scotia, PEI, Prince Edward Island. These are about 2 or 3 years old. These are a year old. Ours grew faster than these. So
Now,
wanna do
what's this?
a mignonette, shallot and vinegar.
I'll try it.
Yeah.
I'll try anything once, maybe.
I'll put it right there.
Thank you.
And I'll do straight up lemon again.
Cheers. I like that. It's very good.
Yeah. Now, you can see the difference in this shell.
Totally.
Now, there's little holes in it. There's different colors. There are different ridges. There's different weight. There's different algae that colored this. So there's so many things that you can find out about your oyster from just that shell.
What feeling do you get when you eat your own oysters?
Anytime I eat a good oyster, and I think that is a good oyster, I didn't do anything except take care of it. It's from the water it lives in, and that's the perfect oyster for me. This Mauritius Bay, where I'm from, oyster is perfect for me. I feel delighted. I feel happy. I feel, like I said, it's almost like a postcard from that place. Like I feel the nostalgia from my childhood. I feel walking on the beach. I feel all of the memories, sense memories of kelp on an ebb tide, salt air, being young in the summer, the sunshine on your skin. Believe it or not, I taste all of that in there because I have a sense memory that connects to that. And I think that's probably one of the reasons I love oysters so much, that it feels like a little culinary delight in a tiny package that is Long Island.
Sue, you're a woman of many firsts. First professional athlete in your family, WNBA pioneer, Rutgers all-time leading scorer, first openly gay WNBA player, first person in New York to have a kelp permit, commercial kelp permit.
Yes.
What sort of responsibility comes with this path you have charted?
I don't know. It makes me think more that the world is still young. It's not like, it just feels like, oh, the time was right when I was doing this, and that it wasn't done just must mean the world is young, and it just needed to be done, and it was my time. It just happened in my time.
And there's one more first that I know that you've dreamed of, and it will not happen with you as a player, but it will happen with you as a legend, as a fan. The New York Liberty have never won a WNBA championship. What would it mean for you as a WNBA pioneer for your team to win a championship?
Girl, you know how excited we were in that building. I thought that that banner was already, they were going to hang it up. I thought the trophy was in our hands, and I can't believe that Becky Hammon, of all people, stole that from us. So one more year delayed, and we go back at it. It's a dream. I mean, I didn't know how invested I was until how emotional I got when we got close. As I'm sure you can imagine, back and forth with Becky Hammon, like, girl, I am your biggest fan, and I am a huge Aces fan when they're not playing the Liberty. And I was like, I have to tell you, I just love my Liberty so much. And every time we were playing against Becky, if I jumped out of my chair and cheered, she was like this, like giving me the hardest look. And I was like, so the last game, I was just trying to be still. And she coached her butt off, and I was so proud of her, her robbing my New York Liberty of that championship. It was painful, but I was also so happy for Becky, to be honest. I can't wait till we have that championship. The New York Liberty has worked hard and long, and their management right now has put all the pieces together, and now it's up to the players to make it happen, and I believe in them. I believe that we have the right players on the floor.
And they know you believe in them. I see you at every Liberty game, so it's obviously incredible to see you there, and I know that they feel your support and your love. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of your day as an oyster farmer and watching you run this business, from top to bottom. You are involved as this is your baby.
Yeah,
and I'm so proud of you. Continue to do great things, and it's the respect that you have from your colleagues, your peers, the people who work with you, work for you. It's so obvious, it's so evident. So,
Thank you.
continue doing what you're doing, and cheers to that.
To us.
Yes, cheers.